Welcome to our annual general meeting of Council, the 13th of December 2023. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the South East Nation, the Malakadi people of the Huon River, and the Lilaquani people of Far South. We recognise their continuing connection to land, water and culture. We recognise that we have much to learn from Aboriginal people today, who represent the world's oldest continual living culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. In attendance tonight we have, to my left, Deputy Mayor Thorpe, Councillor Armstrong, Councillor Jessup, Councillor Temby, and then I have Councillor Gibson, Councillor O'Neill, Councillor Camber-Smith and Councillor Burgess. Council officers.
Executive Assistant, Acting Director of Infrastructure, Climate and Environment, Sue McCarter, Acting Director of Community Wellbeing, Laurel Ground, Acting Director and actual Director of People and Culture, Corporate, Patty Johnson, and Director of Legal and Governance, Matthew Grimsey. We also have Mick Lowenstein filming for us tonight. And Sue, by the door. Sorry, Sue. Hi, Sue.
And 2.3 is electoral. Yep. Yep. And 2.4, do we have any guests? No. Okay, do we have any apologies? No. Leave of absence or absent? No. Okay, number 4, confirmation of minutes of previous annual general meeting held on the 14th of December 2022. So it's 4.001/23. Recommendation is that the minutes of the annual general meeting held on the 14th of December 2022 be confirmed. Yep, do I need a mover for that? Yes, Councillor Temby, and a seconder, Councillor Armstrong. Now we have the presentation of our annual report for 2022-2023.
Sorry, we just need to vote on that.
Oh, so okay. All those in favour, please raise your hand. So, councillors? And the motion is carried. Sorry about that, Sandy. Okay, so I'll go straight into my Mayor's piece on the annual report. It is with great pride that, along with the Acting General Manager, that I present our annual report for the 22-23 financial year. Highlights for me have been our focus on community engagement, our responsiveness to community feedback and sustainability. Also want to make mention of our vision, our purpose and our values that are listed in there, and that's something that we've done some work on this year. In November, our new council was sworn in and we welcomed 7 new councillors and 2 returning. It was a special occasion for all in attendance, made even more significant by the celebration of our Deputy Mayor's 21st birthday. It is also important that we acknowledge our previous group of councillors and the significant contribution they made to council and the community. Together we achieved goals and came together even with differing perspectives for the betterment of the community. And whilst I'm thanking people, I would like to acknowledge the dedicated staff for their unwavering support to make our valley the best place to live in. I look forward to similar hearty discussions with our new council as we push ourselves and each other to continue the good work of making the Huon Valley a prosperous and resilient place to live, work and explore. And I think we showed that with resilience at the weekend with our 2 fire meetings that were held with great attendance. With close to 19,500 people We are one of the fastest growing local government areas. One of the most challenging decisions our new councillors faced was a decision to increase rates for the upcoming financial year of 23-24. Over the years, council has kept rates low, but the growing demand for services and our regularity obligations have expanded. The rate increase will enable us to provide a comprehensive range of programs that benefit all community members whilst ensuring our financial stability in the future. Our community vision, an important document guiding the growth and development of the Huon Valley region for the next 10 to 15 years, was developed through a comprehensive community engagement process. Having attended many of the community workshops during this process, it was heartwarming to see that people's hopes and desires for the future of the valley are all very similar. Throughout the year, we had the privilege of welcoming 33 new Australian citizens during various ceremonies held in the valley. A personal favourite is the Australia Day Citizenship ceremony. It is such a special day for the conferees to celebrate their citizenship with family and friends. We have some very proactive community members in the Huon Valley doing their best to play their part in the community. It is encouraging to see their willingness to take ownership of projects and causes where council may not have the necessary be able to do. Having our own annual country-style agricultural show, for example, which celebrated 75th year in November last, drew in approximately 12,000 people. That's amazing. Organisations organised by only a small committee, it speaks volume to our volunteers and their capacity in the region. A topic of much discussion has been the future of local government review. Stage 1 is complete, outlining priority areas for reform. We look forward to the future engagement and recommendations that the reform to progress. Affordable living remains a central concern in our communities, and we're actively lobbying both the state and federal government to find ways to ease the pressure of our residents. I am pleased with the commitment shown by our new councillors to foster a culture of genuine and respectful engagement with our community. We stand by our statement made to the community that together as councillors, general manager and staff, we intend to reach a shared strategic vision for the whole Huon Valley. We are committed to applying the principles of good governance. And as I said before, as councillors, we are always constantly impressed by the important work done by our dedicated staff, showing their passion and genuine commitment to our council and community. I look forward with positivity to the future of our council, working with our community to continue our journey towards growth, development and a thriving community. So again, thank you for attending, and I'll pass over to the Acting General Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. As Acting General Manager, I would like to first thank our staff and volunteers for their contribution this year and for the ongoing support of the community. I'd now like to present the financial statements of the Huon Valley Council for the year ending 30 June 2023. So I'd like to highlight the following. Council received an unqualified audit opinion from the Tasmanian Audit Office on 20 October 2023. This report can be found on page 57 of the annual report. At the end of the financial year, our underlying deficit was 1.8 million, which is better than the expected deficit, which was predicted at 2.9 million. This variance was largely due to vacant staff positions and the receipt of additional financial assistance grants. Our total comprehensive result for the financial year was 25.5 million. This is significantly greater than budget due to valuation movements in several asset classes, which were anticipated in our long-term plan for next year, but due to the amount of the increase in valuation of asset classes, specifically sealed roads, bridges and marine facilities, the Auditor General advised for them to be recorded in this financial year. The difference between the net result and the comprehensive result is approximately 21 million. This represents the movement in revaluation of assets. However, it should be noted that that revaluation is unrealised. Unrealised means that we haven't sold those assets. However, if we did, we would expect fair value to be obtained on sale. In terms of expenditure, we spent approximately 30% on infrastructure, 20% on our community services, 10% on regulatory services, 11% on waste and the environment, 10% on community engagement and recreation, and 20% on council governance and customer service. Our main areas of investment were a 55% increase in funding, amounting to 945,000, which was directed towards the maintenance of unsealed and sealed roads. Pleasingly, the return on this investment is demonstrated by a 27% reduction in road-related requests and complaints over the same period. Our community vision was a collaboration with the community to produce a document that outlines the community's aspirations, needs and desires for the Huon Valley over the next 10 years. We also invested in council communications, leading to increased awareness of council's activities and achievements, along with additional ICT security measures. We invested in leadership development, where we enhanced project management, enhanced our project management capabilities by training a significant number of staff, particularly within our leadership team. And this has brought about marked improvement in the efficiency and effectiveness of project execution. Our organisational culture is one where we've adopted effective tools to measure and track cultural changes within the council as we continue our effort to create a positive and collaborative work environment. In our continuous improvement area, we saw approximately 110,000 or equivalent to 0.7% of the general rate saved through our innovation and productivity program, which significantly targeted efficiency opportunities in waste management. Another key achievement this year was the comprehensive review and subsequent adoption of the Council's financial management strategy and long-term financial plan at the June 2023 Council meeting. This was a critical step to ensure our financial operations are strategically aligned, future-focused and sustainable. Our cash balance is sitting at 20 million, which is an increase of around 2 million. The increase is mostly due to the unprecedented advance payment, which was 100% of the 23-24 financial assistance grants program. We invest excess funds according to Council's investment of funds policy to obtain the best return within defined risk parameters. The aim is to ensure the Council is financially sustainable for the short, mid and long term. The cash balance has therefore been taken into account when developing the Council's long-term plan to ensure we can continue to provide services to our community. Thank you.
Thank you. 6, discussion of community submissions received. That was Neil. Yes. 7, questions from the public on the annual report. Attendees are reminded that questions should relate to the 22-23 annual report. When asking a question, speakers are requested to address their questions to the Mayor. Did we have any questions provided prior to the AGM? No? Do we have questions from the public? Yes? Would you like to come forward to the lectern, please? State your name as just like a council meeting.
Yes.
Thank you.
Caleb from Dover, to the Mayor, if I may. On page 75 or 81, depending on what page number we're looking at, drawing your attention to section 3.2 of the financial report, consultants went from $45,000 in 2022 to $320,000 in 2023. What are the top 5 contributors or consultants in descending order of this amount in 2023, and what were their respective projects?
Take it, yep. I can pass that through, yes?
Sure. We'll take that one on notice and get you that list.
Okay. Proceed to the second.
Yes, you may.
If I may? Yes.
Yes.
So drawing your attention again to the same section, section 3.1, it shows work cover costs. What are the primary reasons for the increase seen in this area from $80,000 to $395,000? Are the costs primarily related to psychological claims, for example, bullying or harassment, or physiological claims with people falling off ladders, workplace incidents like that, or other? Please specify.
Okay, we'll take that one on notice, or...
Just having a look at our notes so we can see if we can answer it straight up. If not, we'll take it on notice.
Take it on notice?
Yep,
yeah,
sure.
We'll take that
Thank
on
you.
notice, thank you. Thank you, Caleb. Anyone else with a question? Yes, you may.
Doreen Chplinsky from Deep Bay. First of all, it's related to the consultation processes that have been undertaken and reported on in the annual report. So firstly, I'd congratulate Council on its endeavours to improve its consultation with the community, especially in relation to the land use and development strategy. I observed that the draft consultation LUDS document was greatly outdated in that it did not reflect the current land use across the valley. For example, there are innumerable subdivisions being currently developed in Signet and Huonville. There is an existing proposal to build on a river flat in the middle of Signet. There is no watercourse strategy, and there is no coherent strategy for dealing with floods or managing floodplain development. This is despite the widespread general knowledge that interstate, local and state governments are having to move whole towns due to floods and future flood risk, an inevitable and foreseeable consequence of climate change and building on floodplains. It's also observed that Council is relying on outside consultants to produce reports. From my perspective, I see that has resulted in reports which I consider do not reflect the status quo, in that they are no longer relevant, they're outdated, and they lack depth. So I have a question, first of all. Has Council considered employing staff with the necessary knowledge, skills and qualifications, or the capacity to achieve them, as a way of cutting costs and increasing the knowledge and skills base of Council staff and Council, while simultaneously producing better qualitative data to inform decision making?
Thank you for that question. I'll pass that through to the Acting General Manager.
Look, thanks for the feedback and the comments. Sorry, can you hear me okay?
I can't hear very well. I have a hearing deficit.
I'll face you and face this. So thank you for the feedback on the LUDS process and the question. LUDS is a turnaround for Council. We have not been investing for many years in strategic planning, and it's an excellent first step, but we do acknowledge that there are gaps, and it is a continuum process that we'll be looking at in greater detail as we progress from LUDS into specific area planning, picking up issues like climate change, flood risk, all the rest of the elements. So we're not blind to that. We're on a journey. So we ask you to work with us on that. In terms of the use of contractors versus staff, yes, we have considered having staff. In fact, this year is the first time in many years where we've actually had a dedicated resource for strategic planning. It's certainly something that we'll be looking at more closely in budget provision for next financial year. We will always need an element of suitably qualified external professionals to help advise us in this space. It's just not possible for council to have the range of skills across hydrology, agriculture, all these things that get melted down. But internal capacity to bring all that together and to inform our strategy and to consult with the community, yes, that's an area where we're committed to having staff for the long term to keep this stuff contemporary.
Yeah, good. I'm not sure whether I should make this as a motion or a question. So would you like a question or a motion? It can be read any. Well, I put it as a question and then see if you want a motion. Or a motion and...
No, ask a question.
Yeah, ask a question. Will council ensure that a LUTS paper that reflects, at minimum, the exact current state of development in the Huon and a waterway strategy for consultation?
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Could you repeat the question, sorry?
Yeah. Will council ensure that a LUTS paper that reflects, at minimum, the exact current state of development in the Huon and a waterway strategy for consultation? There is no plan that actually clearly depicts what comprises the Huon Valley and its various states, etc. It's all blurry, and I think, if I'm allowed to say this there, that really you've got to get the data. The data exists, you have to put resources into getting the data. You cannot get that from a consultant, you need someone dedicated to work with council and lands department to actually plot what this place looks like in order to make decisions. And you can colour, quite easy, you can colour code it, not terribly expensive.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying the question. So there is a significant data collection effort being undertaken. It's the project called REM Plan. The state government has that underway at the moment. It is going to answer, I'm pretty sure, exactly what where your comment goes to. We will absolutely be utilising that data and utilising it in an ongoing sense, because the next phase of it is to again keep that as a contemporary data set, so that we don't fall behind again.
Yeah, exactly.
We will be absolutely, we're hotly anticipating that to feed into our LUDS process and our strategic planning process generally.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
And I'll put this all as questions. It's
Yes,
easier as a question, and then if you would like a motion, I can do a motion. So, will council ensure that the LUDS paper reflects a community desire to recognise rural living as a legitimate and easily obtainable lifestyle choice that enhances the Huon as a desirable place of living and location, as well as tourism location?
Can we take, because I think we are,
Is that a motion or a
Yeah.
Well, you can do either. I don't want to make it difficult for people. It can be a motion if you prefer. I can say, I move that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The sentence structure is the same. I've got it typed out.
yes. Yeah, okay. Do you have a seconder?
Yeah, the issue is that it's still in draft, so it's hard to give you a definitive answer at this point. We're aware of that community desire, and obviously just balancing the various needs that we've got across the community. So LUDS is still a document in development. That's probably the best answer I can give you at this point. But we are certainly committed to including the community sentiment, and it's been noted in previous council meetings that the quality of community feedback on LUDS, the submissions that were made, were all fantastic, covered a range of different opinions, but were all well articulated and appreciated.
Okay. So you don't need a motion? It'll be all, you're looking at the...
Yeah.
I don't think so, because it is still in draft. Obviously, it's your prerogative to raise a motion if you would like to.
Okay, again, the same situation exists. Will Council include a strategy that actively assists rural landowners to meet the habitation needs of their growing families, especially where land fragments can sustain a living home situation?
I think we'll take that as, a comment against that draft LUDS document.
Oh yeah, I'd really like an answer for that, because during all the hearings that we had, which was funded and part of the consultation here, a lot of people had small areas of land which were big enough to build a house on, but they couldn't do it.
These are now, the purpose of the annual general meeting is to focus on the annual report, and we're now, whilst land use planning obviously broadly is part of that, we're now straying into a document that's still under development. Hence why I'll take that as a comment against that, and I've already said that it's
just a lot of hundreds of thousands of dollars were used for consultants who ignored the community desire and feeling that
but it is in a draft form. So is there a question now relating to the annual report?
These are all related to the annual report because they're money that you spend on consultants and the community. So, will Council circulate the next version of LUDS, as the current draft LUDS is a very rudimentary document that failed to outline a coherent future-looking strategy encompassing the next 10 years?
We will continue circulating the draft LUDS until we have finalised the LUDS document.
Yeah. Okay, that's my question, Server.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have... yes.
Yeah, sure.
Do we have anybody else that would like to... Yes? Yes, Amy. Yep, okay. After this. Yep. Okay. Thank you.
No.
Liz Smith, Signet. I have a very simple question, and it may be a bit simple-minded as well. It's on page 95, note 9.1c, titled Other Reserves. And it says that the other reserves was established to isolate financial assets held by Council for completion of specific capital and operational projects. So, at the beginning of the reporting year, in 2022, other reserves was 7.9 million, and at the end of that financial year it was 0. So for this financial year, 2023, there were no other reserves, either at the beginning or end of the financial year. So I'm wondering if Council had any specific capital and operational projects in the 22-23 financial year, or is this perhaps just an accounting mechanism?
Okay, I'll pass that through to the Acting General Manager.
I'll take that one on notice, Dr. Smith, so that we can get you a fulsome answer.
Thank you. So the answers that come to questions on note, or the answers, if they're taken on notice, when do the answers come out? Because the minutes of this meeting don't come through until in a year's time.
In January. Yep.
In January.
Yep.
Okay. Yes. Okay, that was my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, Amy?
Amy Robertson from Port Huon, and for this question I'm President of the Huon Valley Zoning Association. This repeats a question from last year's AGM, as our broadly based community group seeks to constructively engage with Council to enable better planning outcomes. A community has challenges ahead, and we can meet those better when we communicate and work together. HVZA, the Zoning Association, has previously been prevented from meeting with council despite numerous requests. Given that our TPC hearing process is almost complete, could council please accept a request from Huon Valley Zoning Association to meet with councillors and staff as a legitimate community group seeking constructive engagement with council around planning issues? Please give us an opportunity to be heard and to help address planning issues, including those around population growth and improving resilience to climate change and weather events such as fire and flooding.
Thank you. Amy, I'm not sure. Look, can I take that on notice?
Yes.
And come back to you on that? Because I'll need to put some thought into that.
Yep.
And I'd like to, yeah. So if I can take it on notice, that would be good. Thank you. Do you have another question?
I do, and this is just as myself, Amy Robertson. Council's spend on consultants this financial year is 7 times the previous years, and the significant budget line of contract payments has doubled. So together these now total 1/3 as much as employee wages. What has driven this massive increase, and is it ongoing, or will costs be reined in?
I'll pass it on, but I think I know the answer. But, yeah.
Yeah, look, we'll take it on notice so that we can give you an accurate breakdown. Obviously, costs will fluctuate according to what projects we've got at any one time. As I explained to a previous question, we need suitably qualified advice across a whole range of areas, and we have had an ambitious last year where we've really been trying to get some projects moving, and that has meant using consultants. I'll give you a proper breakdown of what that looks like.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, I've given short notice of a couple of motions for the next session. Am I able to add one more to that? I'm trying whether this is a motion or a question. I'll ask it as a question.
Yep.
So the almost trivial number of complaints, 2, under the Customer Service Charter, and the combination of requests and complaints data in the report's page 39 table potentially hide community dissatisfaction from legitimate recognition. So the question is, will Council commit to clearly recognising complaints as a legitimate pathway towards improvement, including implementing the customer satisfaction survey deferred from 2022-23? And I can add a little more comment to explain some of those statistics on complaints.
Yep.
So it seems difficult to account for the report's page 27 claim that statutory planning complaints have dropped by 28%, given there's a growing backlog of unresolved planning applications. For example, DA assessments carried over from the previous financial year, 21-22, to 22-23 rose from 102 the year before to 166 last year. And monthly General Manager report figures through the year indicate another, smaller, growth in backlog coming into the current year. Page 39 of your annual report reminds us of a lack of constructive and overabundance of defensive styles in the staff survey. And in conclusion, it's never easy to acknowledge problems or complaints, but it's also the most important first step towards addressing these if you truly do seek a, page 9, continuous improvement culture and the delivery of world-class services.
Yes.
Look, on behalf of the executive, it's one of our key priority areas to have an adequate customer management system and complaints handling process. There is inadequacies in that system at the moment. We take these type of issues really, really seriously, and I totally agree that the only way we're going to get better is to acknowledge complaints and improve our process for handling them. So it will continue to be a priority for us, and we'll be seeking budget allocation in the next financial year to address it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have any other? No? Okay. That takes me to 8.001/23 general business. There was no motions provided on notice for this meeting. Do I have motions from the floor? Yes? Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you, Mayor. Jerry White, Signet Coast Road, Craddock. My motion is about a community forum, to form a community forum, and it's on behalf of Circular Economy Huon. And it relates in terms of the 2022-23 annual report, where it talks about the strategic objectives, capable and productive people and assets across the valley. And the details of that are in the annual report. In terms of background, when Circular Economy Huon met with yourself, Mayor, and with the previous General Manager, we talked about the possibility of forming a community forum. And that was positively received at the time, but the idea was that we should wait until the new council was appointed and settled into office. The purpose of the forum is to improve communication, and it's not an allegation that communication doesn't exist now, but we can see how it can improve by working with the groups that are already existing within the Huon. And it would establish more effective communication. It would also be an avenue for showing the council priorities and intentions, the existing and the future ones, and getting those to representatives from groups within the Huon, and ensure adequate and effective consultation and engagement processes. A similar organisation exists in Kingborough, and when I lived there, I thought it was an effective body, and it's been in existence for over 20 years. It's the opportunity for community groups, however we describe a community group, which may be either special purpose or place-based, to meet together with council to exchange information. So my motion reads that the Huon Valley Council establish a community forum which would meet 4 times a year or more frequently if required, to enable representatives of community and special interest groups in the valley to come together to share information about their actions and priorities with each other and with council, and for council to share information and exchange ideas about key initiatives they are addressing.
Thank you for that, Jerry. Do you have a seconder for your...
I hope so. Yes.
You got that, Sandy? Yes. Okay, so you don't need to speak any more to that, or no?
Happy to respond to questions. But...
I think that we'll workshop what we need to do. But we'll get back to you on that one.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Pardon? Do they need to vote? Yes? Yep. So, all those in favour of the motion? You got the numbers, Sue? Yep. Yep.
So,
Okay. Do we have another? Do we have any more? Yes? Yes? We'll go, Amy.
Amy Robertson, Port Huon. So I move that in alignment with the transparency provided by the Tasmanian Planning Commission's planning scheme hearing process, all submissions made during consultation on similar matters, including the draft land use and development strategy, be published prior to decision making in full rather than as summaries.
Okay, is there a seconder to Amy's motion? Caleb? I'll ask to vote on that. Yeah. Do we have do the vote on that? Yep. Yep. Raise your hand if you're in favour of that motion. That's all in the gallery. Yep. Okay. Yeah, you can go for again. Yes.
Okay, second motion that Huon Valley Council reiterates its support for the Tasmanian Planning Commission's full consideration of contemporary information on social, economic and environmental issues affecting the draft Huon Valley Local Provisions Schedule, LPS, recognising that the hearing process has added considerable information not included in the original drafting and Section 35F report process.
Okay, do we have a seconder to Amy's motion? Yes. All those in favour, please raise your hand if you're in favour of that motion.
Can I just speak a little to that?
Yes, you can.
Council did some significant work in the preparation of that 35F report that recognised the significant number of community submissions on issues. And those principles and those representations in turn have created a hugely long hearing process. It's been a very long and convoluted process, but certainly my assessment and my team's assessment is that that's added a lot. And I guess I'm looking for recognition by council that this has been a continuing, developing, evolving process, and that under the banner of TPC hearings, that LPS and the principles and data on which it's based have evolved further than the Section 35 report that Council officially endorsed at the start of this calendar year. That recognition just puts an opinion, I guess, in that discussion and decision-making process by TPC that recognises that we're not where we were a year ago. There's a lot more in that, and recognising the depth of that information.
Okay,
I just note that that is the purpose of the hearing process, to expand upon the Section 35F report. So that's, as designed, that's the process doing what the process is supposed to do. So we do acknowledge that, and we'll take the motion and respond to it accordingly.
okay, so now I'll ask the gallery, all those in favour of Amy's motion, please raise your hand. You have that, Sandy? Okay, thank you. Yep, thank you very much. Oh, do you need votes against? No.
You can ask them.
Yep. Votes against? Thank you. Okay, do we have any other motions from the floor? Yes?
Liz Smith Signet on behalf of Circular Economy Huon. My motion is that, in view of the success of the food hub and the potential of the Huon Valley to produce more food for southern Tasmania, and to encourage and support people who want to become small-scale food producers, firstly, that the Council explores possibilities for lease of fertile land close to settlements to people who do not own land, so that they can develop horticultural projects. And secondly, a report on the potential for implementation of such projects in the Huon Valley be provided to the Council no later than April 2024.
Thank you. I'll take that one. Yeah. A seconder for that? Raise your hands. Oh, yeah.
Cecilia.
And do you wish to?
Yes, I speak to the motion.
Thank you.
Okay, so the Huon Valley has been recognised as having great potential for small-scale horticulture, especially vegetable growing. But land prices are a barrier to many, especially younger people, to setting up small horticultural projects, and there is likely to be land classified as significant agriculture close to townships, which is not very productive. One advantage of land close to a township is the availability of town water, so that a dam is not required. And of course, there are issues of transport. There are significant markets in Hobart, in addition to the Huon Valley, and the Food Hub may be able to provide information and assistance in marketing produce. For people who do not have expertise in market gardening, the Trade Training Centre, TAFE, and the Jobs Hub may be able to assist with training. Some landowners may wish to lease small portions of their land, say 1 to 2 hectares, because they cannot keep their property in production, and they might be interested in some form of land sharing scheme. Also, there may be plots of council-owned land that the council could consider leasing for food production. Local food production is an important approach to building a resilient community, but those who do not own land are generally unable to develop skills and understand the complexity of small-scale horticulture. So an innovative approach to encouraging local food production would be for the council to support the ability for local food production on land leased, either from the council or from private landowners. A report to the council could contain research on any existing projects and lessons that were learned in other places.
Thank you for that. All those in favour of Liz's motion, please raise your hand. Nice and high, so Sandy can. Yep. Do we have any that are against? No? Okay.
I have a second motion that I've been asked by a concerned resident to put forward, so is it okay if I put that forward?
Yes, does that go down in your name though? Does that? Yep. Yep.
Yes? Okay, the motion is that given that climate change is causing unprecedented weather events in all states of Australia, this motion requests that the Huon Valley Council assess the potential liability risk to motorists of dead trees along Cygnet Coast Road, which is the responsibility of the council, and that the council bring a report to a monthly meeting before June 2024 from an independent arborist, highlighting what actions will be taken to protect motorists travelling along the Cygnet Coast Road, and I would imagine this would apply to other roads where trees are dying, because ratepayers will bear the burden of any potential event causing injury or death, as well as the financial responsibility from falling trees.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that motion? Yes, we do, thank you.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't need to speak to it.
Okay, I'll ask for all those in favour of that motion. Please raise your hand. Are you up or down? What are you doing? Yeah, just stop the. Okay, thank you. Have you got those to give to?
That's it.
Yeah.
There you are.
All right, thank you. Do I have any other motions on the floor? Yes, you may. Yes? Just your name and where you're from.
Alice Brown, Ranelagh. Would Council consider having a creative sub-board or subcommittee that assists with the management of Cygnet Town Hall and the Franklin Palais. These two venues are predominantly utilised by creatives. However, their current management models do not have any creative oversight. These venues, if nurtured correctly, could become thriving creative hubs for our community. As we know from the community vision, creativity is highly regarded by our community, and for creatives to have more oversight, it could bring more prosperity to our community.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a seconder to Alice's motion? Well, she did have, that was...
Supposes either or.
The motion is to form a...
Creative sub-board
Yeah.
for the creative venues that are the Cygnet Town Hall and the Palais Theatre. Creative oversight, a creative site board, a creative oversight board, or a creative oversight committee to assist the current committees in making creative decisions. Yeah, Cygnet Town Hall and the Palais.
Do I have a seconder to Alice's motion? Thank you. All right. Do you wish to speak more to your motion? All those? Okay, I'll put that. All those in favour of Alice's motion, please raise your hand. Against? No. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any other motions from the floor? No more? Okay, all right. Well, I'd just like to say from the councillors, the acting general manager, the executive leaders team, would like to thank you all for coming out tonight and to wish you all a happy Christmas, and please stay safe on our roads, as I know everyone does more mileage over that holiday break. So please stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Tomorrow night if you come to the ordinary meeting. So, number 9, closure. I declare the meeting closed at 6:52. Thank you very much.